Hello and welcome to Small Game Adventures. I am Mootle, and today we're looking at our last episode in the Warden walkthroughs. So we're on the Demon Hall's depths, which is a bit fun, a bit exciting. So depth 21 to 26 will finally finish up beating Yogi, which is always a nice achievement to get through at the end of a run. It's kind of the entire point of the game. And we'll get the Amulet of Yendor. So depth 21 is quite different to most of the other shop depths because this depth only contains the shop. Now there's a bit of argument about whether it's in the Dwarven City depths or the Demon Halls depths. Technically I guess it's in the Dwarven City depths, as that's the tile set used is, but I tend to call it the Demon depths anyway. So the only thing we're going to really try and pick up in this shop is the torches. We're going to need most of our other utility items. So these Demon Halls where we're going to try and use every trick in the book to try and get through. Some people just try and run straight through them, and that's a perfectly legitimate tactic. If you think you can take on Yogi, you really don't need to walk through the Demon Halls. I'm going to clear them, and it's going to take me a little bit longer than it should, as you'll find out in a minute, but that's okay. Now, our enemies that we're going to come across in the Demon Halls. First of all, we're going to come across the Succubus. Now, the Succubus is a little bit fun. They have 80 health and do between 15 and 25 attack damage. And if they're a few blocks away from you when they see you, they'll actually teleport to you and hit you in one go. So they will close at distance very quickly. I think the only time that they won't is when they're one block away, and that way they'll just follow you. They do have a 33% chance of giving you a charmed debuff when they hit you. And that means that you can't attack them back. So you can still attack things around you that aren't them, but the Succubus that applied that charmed can no longer be attacked, I believe. They have a 5% chance of dropping a scroll of Lullaby, but that's not really too important. Now, you can see I've walked down to the depth 22 here. I've used my scroll of magic mapping and my mind vision potion. I'm going to try and do that on every single depth of the Demon Halls. I don't want to step on any traps in the Demon Halls. They do stupidly large amounts of damage. And so definitely want to avoid that. So if you've got scroll to magic mapping, definitely use those. They're really handy. Notice I'm trying to kite these succubuses through the doors, getting off those critical hits, just because I really don't want to be charmed. So charmed isn't too bad. I can just run away from them, but it is a bit annoying having to run around with a succubus chasing you, because you don't really want to just stand there and take its attacks to the face. You can still use ranged attacks. It's just a melee attack that you can't use. Anyway, also, I'm keeping my eye out for different rooms and stuff where my items are going to be when I use this scroll of magic mapping, and I want to keep my eye out also for vegetation patches, because I'm the Warden. That bark skin is really powerful, and I can't recommend it enough. You need to know where your grass patches are. Obviously, in this depth there aren't that many. There's a couple at the start there, and that's about it. But you know, it's always a good thing to keep in mind, and keeping in mind also that our seeds, when we chuck them down, will also give us that bark skin. Anyway, what we've just come across here is the Evil Eye. Evil Eyes are the absolute bane of the Demon Depths. It's why we tend to try and avoid them if you can. Like if you're set to go straight to Yogi, then do it, because these Evil Eyes will slaughter you. They have 100 health, they only do between 14 and 20 attack damage, and they attack at 1.6 attack speed, but their range is unlimited. If they can see you, they will hit you. They attack with a disintegration beam, which means that you can't hide behind other enemies. They'll just attack straight through them. And their attack completely ignores armor, as far as I'm aware. I made a really terrible mistake there. I thought, oh, I'll be able to kill him in another attack, and I didn't, which means I've used up my vial. So I'm actually going to use my Lloyd's Beacon. If you remember previously, we went on the city depths and we found this depth that has a bunch of dewdrops on it. So we're going to use Lloyd's Beacon and pick up these things, because again, the vial, I've said it before and I'll say it again, when the vial is not full, that's your new #1 priority. You need to have that there for you. It's just a fail-safe, I guess. For when things go wrong exactly like that. I mean, obviously I've got quite a few health potions at the moment, which is nice, but still, with these dewdrops here, I may as well take a little bit of time. I am kind of speed running this run, like I've done it specifically for recording purposes, but sometimes, you know, you want to take that extra time to just to make sure to secure the run. I'm feeling pretty confident at the moment I could beat Yogi right now. For recording purposes, I'm going to go through the entire Demon Halls, but to do that, I really want to have that vial there ready to go. Now, the other thing about the Evil Eyes, they have a 50% chance of dropping a dewdrop, so I'll probably use that later on to fill up my vial completely, because I don't think I have exactly 10 dewdrops on this depth, which is unfortunate for me, but that's okay. Now the final enemy that we're going to come across on the demon depths when we eventually get back there, because I'm having some troubles with these stupid dwarven monks again, is the Scorpio. Now the Scorpio has 95 health, and they do between 20 and 32 attack damage. So they hit a little bit harder, and they have a 50% chance of crippling you when they attack. So when you're crippled, that debuff means that you're going to move slower, and you're going to take a whole heap of pain from any enemies around you, so you don't really want to do that. The advantage though of the Scorpios is that they won't attack at point blank range. They have a 10 attack range, but their actual attack range is like, I guess 2 to 10. They won't attack if you're right in front of them, so you can actually just chase them around a lot and they won't attack you, they just keep on running away. And the best way to kill them is generally to find a doorway and let them run backwards and forwards through it, and you'll see me using that trick a lot when we get back up to the demon levels. Eventually, it'll happen one day guys, I promise, we'll get there. Now, the Scorpios have a 12.5% chance of dropping a healing potion, and then like a 14.6% chance of mystery meat, I think. It's a really weird percentage, it's like 7 over 48 or something strange. I don't know why. I'm sure there's some sort of programming logic in there somewhere. Yeah, so they'll drop healing potions and mystery meat, so if you're really desperate, so like you've got absolutely no healing potions, no NX, and no Vial, when you're going to try and beat Yogi, maybe it's worth farming some Scorpios, you know, on your depth 24, but yeah. Yeah, it's possible. Here's a bit of a predicament. I've got a dwarven warlock at the end of the thing, so I'm going to throw a frost potion down his runaway, because I really don't want to be here anymore. I'm kind of sick of the dwarven depths. We've done it to death, and I kind of wanted to get back up to the demon levels. Of course, picking up all the dewdrops on the way, and you'll notice that I am using healing potions. I really had no health lost there, but because I have so many healing potions, like 10 healing potions is absolutely plenty for the demon levels. But I really want that Vial, so if I have to use another 2 health potions to get a full Vial, I will actually do that. Now that is a personal preference. Some people don't like to rely on the Vial as much. I complained a lot when they brought it in because I thought it was very OP, but you know, you may as well use the utilities that the game developer gives you. So you know, we have to deal with armor degradation now, which by the way I will put an episode up on, because apparently everyone hates armor degradation. I don't really mind it too much. I'll put an episode up. I've had to deal with that at some point. But, you know, with armor degradation, we've got the dewdrop, we've got the honeypots, that kind of thing, so we may as well use them as well as we can. And for me, unless I'm running really low on health potions, having a full Vial is much better than having, you know, an extra 3 health potions. Again, personal preference, but it seems to work pretty well for me, so see how you go. Very situational based. Anyway, again, these traps that we're coming across in the demon halls, they're really nasty. I've got a wand of telekinesis, which is really nice. I can activate all the traps. If you haven't got a scroll of magic mapping, or you have, like, you know, a couple of them, I suggest counting down. So if I had 2 scrolls of magic mapping, I'd use one on Yogg-Dozer, and I'd use one on the final demon halls. Now you could use it on the final 2 demon halls if you had enough invisibility potions or something, or a mind vision potion extra to fight Yogg-Dozer, but I tend to prefer having that final depth mapped for me. So when you don't have magic mapping, you have to be really careful. You have 2 options essentially. If you have a wand of telekinesis, you can shoot that out in front of you whenever you come to to a hallway or a corner or something. Never ever walk on a square that you aren't 100% certain is empty. Or the other option is, and I know Shadow Automatum on the wiki searches absolutely every square whenever he walks. So he'll take 1 step, search, 1 step, search, 1 step, search. Of course, if you've got a ring of detection like I have at the moment, you can take a few steps and search. But just, yeah, you can't afford to step, especially something like a crippling trap or a summoning trap, something like that you'll just die. You'll die really quickly. You can see how much damage this is doing to me. I don't believe the bark skin, because the bark skin adds armor, and the evil eyes completely ignore it. So you know, this is the one time where the warden is actually really vulnerable to that high DPS output. We've seen the bark skin be challenged before with like the not the golems, the enraged brutes. They do a lot of damage, even through bark skin. But yeah, the evil eyes just go absolutely to town on you. So something to watch out for then. But yeah, so if you don't have the ooh, well, that's a little bit nice. So we have a ring. plus 2 ring of evasion, which is kind of exactly what we want at this point. Evasion is the only way really to avoid the massive amount of damage that the evil eyes will do to you. Right there you've seen the succubus teleport attack trick. That'll happen. Yeah, again, I've got the torch up all the time at the moment, which is kind of important. You can get away without torches in the demon halls, but it makes things a whole lot harder. Because you'll end up having succubi like teleporting to you from absolutely nowhere. You'll have evil eyes attacking you out of the darkness, that kind of thing, which is really frustrating to try and deal with. Notice how massive my range is on my ring of detection. It's just degraded there, but yeah, I can see quite a lot with that ring, which is nice. We're not actually using it because we've already mapped the entire level, but it is kind of fun. It's down to +3 now, which is way too much for a ring of detection, but that's all right. We don't need it anyway. So obviously this unidentified, I'm just checking these unidentified potions that I have are paralytic gas. You won't find a potion of might, as I've mentioned before. So by process of elimination, you can know exactly what you've got. So again, we've descended the level. We're going to use magic mapping. We're going to use mind vision. We know where everything is. We're going to go to the left here because there's less over here. But I think that's a trap of summoning there in front of me. So I don't really want to activate that at the moment because there's so many enemies behind me. So I'll probably don't take out some of those at the moment. Now you'll notice I've got this potion of experience sitting in my inventory. I really don't need to have that there. At the moment, it's really just a stats thing. So the only way to get higher than level 26, hero level 26, is to use potions of experience. So some people do save them up to like the final battle. You save up, a couple of potions of experience, and that's how people get, characters of level 29 or 30 in their final stats, their high scores page. If you're struggling a little bit though, that's not worth it. You may as well use the experience potion straight away. So remember, anyway, yeah, back into the game. I know that there's a few enemies in that hall at the end of, the room at the end of the hall there. So what I'm chucking in is the poison gas potion and the paralytic gas potion. I'm going to open the door there just to see if I can do some damage to them, soften them up a little bit. Again, we've seen the Scorpio here. I was going to chase it around the room, but I forgot that there was an evil eye in there. So chasing scorpions is great, apart from the fact that when there's other enemies around, everything will wail on you. And that right there is the scorpion trick, and it's how you should kill all scorpions. If you don't have a ring of haste, what you do is you walk up to a door. They've gone through the door, and what they'll do is they'll walk in and out of that room trying to find you. So you can actually just attack them. They'll walk away. You hit search, just wait 2 times, and he'll pop back in. You hit him, hit search, and you keep on doing that till they're dead. They don't do any damage to you at all if you play a game right. Obviously, if you don't play your game right, they'll do all sorts of damage really quickly. And it's similar to the dwarven warlocks on the dwarven city levels. You don't really want to get flanked by them because then you've got to really think about your pathing and where you're going to walk. Yeah. So again, I'm just kind of waiting for this scorpion. I gave up waiting for him. He was being a pain in the ass. Walking around, trying to find these dewdrops. I still don't have a full dew vial, but I don't have any way of getting any more. I need 2 more dewdrops, so hopefully I can get them from evil eyes at some point, because they will drop them. And as I said, I'll more than happy to use a health potion to get an extra dewdrop. Again, keeping my lighting up. The demon levels are really a war of attrition as far as healing potions go. You may as well use all of your utility items. All you need to beat Yogdozo really is, your weapon and your armor. I will put in a tutorial later on how to do that more effectively. But yeah, like I've got my weapon, I've got my armor, I want a mind vision potion, I want a scroll of magic mapping. Honeypots are useful, bombs are useful, that kind of thing that do a little bit of damage, but like as it is, I could face Yogdozo right now and it'd be fine. So all of my other utility items I can use on these demon depths, and I should use on these demon depths, because there's literally no point in hoarding utility items to the end of the game. If I've got potions of frost, or if I've got, potions of toxic gas, you might want, say, paralytic gas to stun the fist out in the final battle, depending on how you like to play that. But really, when you finish the game, if you've still got utility items, that should tell you that you had a really, really, really successful run. Otherwise, you should be using all of your utility items in these demon hole depths. So something to keep in mind there. Yeah, so Again, we're taking it careful. Like I obviously the previous steps I've been kind of speed running through pretty fast. You can't really afford to do that on the demon depths. You've got to be really careful. Every step you take, you should be really, considering what you're doing, making the right decision every time. So again, I'm going to use a health potion here, I think, and pick up this dewdrop. So we've now got 9. I only need 1 more. We're so close. I feel much more comfortable fighting Yogdoza. Not so much demon levels. Like I've got plenty of health potions, but fighting Yogdoza with that dew vial is really nice. Just to avoid the, if you've got a bunch of larvae around you and you've got the fist get through your wall or whatever it is, your health can drop really fast. So having that dew vial is really important. So I really want to get that up before I finally face him, which is, I guess, kind of understandable. Again, I guess one of the cool advantages of using the Scroll of Magic mapping is watching the doors. So the Scorpion's obviously running around, this one that I'm chasing here, running around tons. And I can watch the doors to see where it's going, so it's just going into that. No, it hasn't. Okay, I just shot myself in the foot there, but there's obviously 2 enemies there. I know that there's 2 enemies there. There's an evil eye that I've just seen. But you can watch enemy movements through doors, which is kind of fun. I don't know if that's a glitch or not. I don't know if that's intentional by whatever the developer. But it's definitely a possibility. So again, with these evil eyes, trying to kite them, get as much damage done as possible. And a final dewdrop, which is great. I'll probably try and take out this Scorpion before I use my final health potion to get that dewdrop though. So I've got lots of health. There's no point wasting the health potion. I know that sounds strange, considering it's literally what I'm doing is wasting the health potion. But if I'm going to use a health potion when I've got higher health, I may as well try and kill as much stuff beforehand before I do that. And a nice potion of strength though. Right there, so we can pick up our final dewdrop, and we're feeling a lot happier now. Feeling a lot happier now that we've got all our dewdrops. We've got 1 more depth to go of the demon levels, and it's really more of the same. So we'll get a slightly higher spawn rate of these scorpions, and slightly lower spawn rate of the succubuses. Oh damn it, that's really annoying me. I need to look that up now. Is it even a word that someone's like actually taken the trouble to come up with a plural for? Like, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, there'll be less of them on this final level. Again, I made a silly mistake there of actually taking a step. I know that sounds pedantic, but oh look, a health well. All that was for nothing. Anyway, that's alright. It means that we can come back and use our Duval again if we really have to. Yeah, just taking that 1 step in the demon halls. Like, I kid you not, that might not have fully killed me, but it could have been the end of me very quickly. Something like a shocking trap will take out easily 3/4 of your health. The crippling trap is probably the worst one, especially if you've taken a couple of steps, because you just drop like your health. You're crippled. You accidentally take 1 step. It counts as 2 steps. You use a whole bunch of health. I have been 1 hit before, not on full health, maybe on 3/4 health. But you just, you're walking around and you step on one and you just die, and you're like, oh, GG, well done, that was fun. It's a really disappointing way to finish the game. So always, if you have the Scroll of Magic mapping, always use it, and if you don't, you should always search before walking absolutely anywhere. Even that 1 step off the stairs down from the previous depth can be all kinds of bad for you. Now again, I don't really want to use. Oh, I'm being attacked. I'm in the dark. This is unfortunate. I don't really want to get hit by those scorpions, so you notice that I was doing some ninja tricks there with where I step, and that's always something to keep in mind. So those throwing projectile mechanics that we explored a little bit in episode 1.5 applies to absolutely everything. It applies to our projectiles, it applies to our wands, it applies to Null Shamans, and it applies to the Scorpio. So anything that uses ranged attack uses those mechanics. So in that previous example, the Scorpio was there. I didn't want to get hit, so I walked upwards, which put him in a position where he couldn't hit me. I could have hit him if I was in that position using those tricks that I taught you in episode 1.5, but obviously the AI isn't quite smart enough to do that, so well, isn't smart enough to do that. It's not being exploitive, so it's not going to do that to you, because that's not how I guess the game's really meant to work, but it's just how how we're exploiting the mechanics essentially is what's happening there. I'm trying to make myself sound good, but we are exploiting the game with those projectile mechanics, and the AI won't do that. So something to keep in mind there when you're walking around and trying to avoid getting hit by things. Now you notice I've used a scroll of, I'm out of scrolls of upgrade, but I have used a scroll of enchantment on my weapon just to try and keep its weapon up. So I don't need that weapon. It gets to the point in the game where those animator statues, whilst they're really kind of fun to kill, you don't need to. You just don't. You know, if the weapon isn't worth getting, then it's not worth killing the animator statue. It's just not. I'm gonna go kill Yogi now, obviously. I should have put my token, my beacon down, Lloyd's beacon down there right at the steps, just to save myself some walking and the chance of getting hit by that scorpion that just came through here. Or I should have used the beacon just straight away to get there, because I'd said it previously. But yep, we're going to use that health well before we go down to fight the boss. At this point, you know, I could drop all my items and use the Anak, but I'm going to kill him no matter what, so not too worried. Now, Yogdoza himself has 300 health, he doesn't attack, and there are two fists that we're going to ignore for this point. So come back, I'm going to do a tutorial on Yogdoza and how to beat him, more extensive, and all the bosses really. But for now we're going to ignore the fists. The only other thing we have to work out whenever we hit the evil eye is he's going to spawn God's larvae. So the God's larvae have 25 health and they do 15 to 20 attack damage. But what we're going to do is we're going to use a lava wall, so we're just going to attack the eye. Now, not killing the fists means that the eye is 4 times harder to kill, so you have a 75% damage reduction on all of your attacks, but we've got enough damage that we can do that. So I've used my magic mapping, I'm going to use my mind vision, then my invisibility. If you use invisibility first, then obviously the mind vision will cancel it out, which is kind of counterproductive. Going to chuck down our earthroot seed here, so this is going to give us both our bark, skin, and the earthroot debuff, so we've got tons and tons of armor. We have that +2 evasion ring, and we're right in the corner, so we're going to chuck down some honeypots just to do some extra damage and some damage absorption. At this point in the game, actually 2 honeypots can probably kill Yogdoza. If you have enough invisibility potions, you can actually just leave those 2 bees there and they probably will kill him for you. But at this point they're really for damage absorption. So I'm just getting a larvae wall up, I've got larvae around me. These fists won't come for you if they don't have a direct line of attack. So I haven't taken any damage yet. You'll notice you can watch my health as much as you want. I'm not taking any damage at all. I'm only getting attacked by 2 larvae at a time. Because I'm right in this corner, which is again an absolutely perfect spawn. I could have called him over here with a challenge, a scroll challenge, a scroll of challenge. Wow, today, wow. If I'd really wanted to, but he was spawned there anyway. So now we've just managed to kill him. We're just sitting there wailing on him with these 2 larvae attacking us. We still haven't taken any damage. I'm going to clean up all these larvae. We've got all of our health potions. We've got our G vial. And that just, I guess, goes to show the strength of the Warden. When we're put in a circumstance where we're just going to take it all to the face, chucking down that earthroot seed is absolutely brilliant. So again, we've just killed the final boss in Pixel Dungeon without taking any damage. Now we're not finished yet. We're going to run down, I think, and have a peaceful ending, just because it's a little bit fun to have a peaceful ending. But I hope that's been interesting. This whole series has been a little bit drawn out, and I apologise for that. But I do have a lot of work that I do, and this is kind of a bit more of a hobby kind of thing. But I will continue to upload videos, and again, I keep saying it, but any suggestions are highly welcome. I hope just the Warden walkthrough has been interesting. We've kind of covered everything, so it was a little bit of an advanced walkthrough, and the fact that we are using the Warden, which you have to unlock by getting to depth 15 anyway. But I guess we've gone through all of the little bits as well for each of the levels. So in the future, I'm going to quite soon hopefully get up a speed run of a Warlock run through that I did. And what I'll do, I think, from now on, instead of going through and having like 5 episodes for a walkthrough, I'll just do 1 episode. I'll speed up the video a lot, and just kind of talk about the actual class and character itself and the different tactics that I'm using, because I don't think it's really worth doing, you know, massive 5 video series on every single hero type, because I'll end up just saying the same things over and over again, so it's a bit pointless. So I'm going to try and get that up, and then I've got all the video footage to do boss tutorials. We might chuck in some things like, you know, how to kill wraiths, how to kill the fetid rat, that kind of thing, because I know some newer players have some troubles with that. And I will try and do some modded stuff. So I don't play that much of Shattered. I just downloaded it recently, and it took me a couple of turns to actually beat the game, which was unfortunate. But I have now done that. And, there's not as much information around on the items and the mechanics in Shattered. So there's a lot of difference, a lot of modding is going on there. Obviously, because it's a mod. But I will try and get up a little bit of information about it if I can find some, which would be kind of cool. And I'll probably review some other mods as well. Skillful PD is kind of nice. Your PD is interesting for practicing, and I may use it later on for specific tutorials. Like if there's really specific circumstances, then trying to play enough games that I finally get into that circumstance seems a little bit strange. So maybe I'll try and use that at some point. I don't know. That mod allows you to make your own pixel dungeon levels, essentially, which is cool. What is there? There's Sprouted, which at the moment I really don't like. I've played like 2 games of it. The second one I won, which just tells me that it's a little bit easy. It's a grinding one, really. I don't like it. You kind of just grind until you've got, you know, unbeatable armor and weapons, and then you finish the game. So that's a little bit strange, but yeah, we can look at the mods. Look at some of the mods and talk about the similarities and the differences. The thing I like about Skillful is that you still have armor degradation. You can turn it off, which is a nice option that they've added there, the dev has added there, but it still is in the game, and I appreciate what Watabu has done with the armor degradation. That will be a tutorial that I will get up at some point, just how to deal with it. It's mostly common sense, to be honest, but I know a lot of people were kind of alienated by it when it came out, so you know, that's alright. We'll have a look at that and how I deal with it. Obviously, with these run-throughs, you're going to see how I deal with it. Or not. The next one with the Warlock, I don't deal with it very well at all. I'm trying to use Knuckle Dusters in that run-through, and they basically degrade, like, stupid amounts of times. Like, there's no excuse, there's no reason why it should ever degrade that much. So I lose a whole bunch of damage there, but hey, I still beat the game, even with like, I guess +4 or +5 Knuckle Dusters at the end. I managed to kill Yogi. It's stupid. Anyway, you'll see. I'll put it up, you'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to try and get up some, I've got a Magicka video that I'm going to put up, some Magicka 2 stuff, which is kind of fun. I recommend getting into that. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that people kind of get a bit more into vanilla Pixel Dungeon. And there's been a massive move, especially on the Reddit. Everyone seems to be playing Shattered, which is good. Like, Shattered's a cool game, and the developer of Shattered has been doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. The wand workover just recently was really interesting to see, and really kind of enjoyed the different mechanics that he's added to those wands. But yeah, I don't know, I kind of like supporting the actual original. So most of my tutorials I think are still going to be on the original game. They'll still be applicable because the others tend to be just mods. They just altered the game slightly, and I know the developer of Shattered periodically incorporates the base Pixel Dungeon file into his game, so the updates do come out and are used. So most of my stuff will be in vanilla, but we'll definitely have to look at some of the mods and dealing with the differences in the mods. So something like the fetid rat in Shattered is quite different to, or the gnoll, the poisonous gnoll shaman or whatever it is quite different to the fetid rat in the vanilla Pixel Dungeon. So we can have a look at that as well, and some other you know, cheap and hunter kind of tutorials I've got ready to go as well. So that'd be kind of fun. Anyway, that is the end of our Warden walkthrough series. Depths 1 to 26 of the Warden. I hope that's been interesting for you. I hope you've learned a whole bunch, and I hope I haven't spoken quite too fast to alienate everyone and make you think I'm insane. Yeah, we've covered pretty much most of the stuff you need to know about the Warden. To recap, cool armor. Use your vegetation as much as possible. Use that boomerang mechanics, especially earlier on in the piece. That boomerang is like your kind of statue to stand on, your solid base, until you get some decent weapons and armor up and going. And then once you've got your armor up and going, and your weapons up and going, then you can pretty much just play it like a tank, because that's what you are. Anyway, I am Mooshel. This has been Small Game Adventures. This is the end of the Warden walkthroughs. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.